Hello, darlings. In this video, I'm going to share a little about perimenopause and menopause. Perimenopause is the name used to describe the time during the change of a woman's life. You know, these days we are living longer and longer, and our roles as women are changing. At one time, we were having babies at like 14 and were grandmothers in our early 30s. We didn't live much past the age of, say, 50. Therefore, we may have found many women actually died before they came into this rite of passage, being menopause. And a rite of passage is exactly what menopause is. Just like our first bleed, our menarch, this particular rite of passage is a rebirthing. And it's a birthing into this next version or this next phase of yourself. A woman's life is made up of many different phases. And entering this transitional phase of our lives is often referred to as our autumn, our wise woman, queen, or Maga years. And the word Maga comes from the word magician. So it's a shamanic time for us. And as with all transitional times, we can experience this rite of passage very differently. Some of us moving through this time with ease, and some of us may be experiencing some bumpy moments. You know, depending on our own generational story, what's going on in our mother line, our red thread, will determine how gracefully we move through this time. The patriarchal programming that has taken place for thousands, literally thousands of years, has society celebrating the time in a woman's life that's known as the maiden, her spring, or the mother, our summertime. And often older women may feel overlooked, invisible, perhaps irrelevant, and not attractive. And there's so much pressure on ourselves through all forms of media to look and be a certain way. And we often find ourselves comparing our bodies and our images with, Instagram models, perhaps even less than half our age. This anti-aging industry is a billion-dollar industry, and so is the pharmaceutical industry. And they both make promises to cure symptoms of a perfectly naturally occurring event in a woman's lives. So it's any wonder we're a little, schismatic about it. There are many types of ways women may experience menopause, and it may come on early. It's very rare. They may have needed to have a particular surgery, and there's also a chemical menopause. And this can result in quite sudden changes of your hormones. And women have gone through procedures such as this are often given hormone replacements to help ease the abruptness of the transition. However, when entering this time naturally, we do go through maybe two phases. There's the perimenopausal phase, and peri meaning pre. This means before we stop bleeding. And this can take as long as it takes. And what can happen is as the progesterone levels lower, it can lead us to becoming estrogen dominant. And the reduced progesterone can cause all kinds of things, such as heavier bleeds, weight gain, breast tenderness, and heightened emotional sensitivity. The next phase of this hormone shift is a lowering of the estrogen. And again, things like mood changes can occur, heightened emotions, the sleeplessness nights, hot flashes, cold sweats, and a change in the moistness of our yoni, and as well it can affect our libido. And all of these signs are there for a reason. Depression, rage, suicidal thoughts, memory loss are all on this list as well. They're all experiences that we may have on this journey. Things can support us, such as herbs, nutritional supplements, and cleaning up our diet. Making changes to include more fats, less carbohydrates, less starch and sugars. And the fats can actually help satiate the hunger, preventing us also from gaining weight around the tummy area. And you know, all of these things are going on at a time in our lives when we may have family stresses, lots of, you know, intense work commitments, and perhaps elderly parents needing a little support. So it's any wonder it can be a bumpy ride. But it does get better, I promise. So as we reach this phase of the second spring, we can celebrate. Menopause arrives around a year after our last bleed. And this is surely a time of celebrating, and it is actually referred to as the second spring. As our hormones kind of shift and they balance out, this renewed feeling of creativity is invoked within a woman as she steps into this phase of, I guess, cycling and syncing up with the moon. The ebbs and flows of the moon tend to be what, I guess, she can connect with rather than her monthly cycle of menstruation, to check in where she is with herself. It's suggested that a menopausal woman contains her own energy, and thus holding on to the wisdoms of her menstrual past. Therefore, she truly is stepping into a more shamanic version of ourselves, the wise woman. You know, a teacher of mine, Jane Hardwick Collins, says that at menarch, a girl meets her power. Through through her menstrual years, she practices her power, and then at menopause, she becomes her power. So, my loves, really inviting you to feel into this journey and what's moving through you. And if you're finding any of these experiences arising, know that they are all there for a reason. A little piece around the flashes and the sleepless nights. For me, that's been super, super interesting, is to just take note of what is arising just before one of these internal heat moments come up, these sweaty, flashy moments. Watch our thoughts. Are we having a negative thought? Are we reliving something that needs to be burned up and let go of, put into the fire, literally? The sleepless nights, I find for a while there, I was tossing and turning, and now I get up and I may write in my journal. I may make myself a cup of chamomile tea, have a shower. I've been doing that a little bit, and I've also been having magnesium baths at night. And you know what? I actually do feel quite rested when I get up in the morning. So these times again can be highly creative. Knowing that this is a perfectly naturally occurring experience in a woman's life, and we are being prepared, we are being initiated into the next phase of our life, also for me has helped the journey. I won't say be easier, however, I feel supported in that knowingness that every woman in my ancestral line has walked this path as well. Every woman that is in my circle is walking this path as well. And as we walk this path together, we're gaining the wisdom that we can share to the younger women that will follow us through. So, loves, if you have any questions at all about this time, this perimenopausal time, and again, it can take as long as it takes, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Much love.